Hey, we're back again. We had to punt. We had to go a different route, but the receiver fumbled the ball and we recovered. So I think we're going to do just fine.
I think so.
Yeah, it happens every now and then. Shit happens, and when it does, we have to make sure we got the pooper scooper to pick up the mess.
That's right. And you can't be fearful about it because it is what it is.
It is. It just is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
Oh, excuse me.
So
I'm just going over here real quick because I like to share out people's live streams, and I like to share mine too. And I would love it if you would share this as well.
yes, please share this, and especially because Be Live doesn't want to be generous in letting people know that we're live. So we're kind of counting on you watching to share it, to help us spread the word, because Facebook isn't really doing it for us. So
No, they're really not. And to be honest with you, I can't really blame them because Facebook wants you to come live through their native Facebook Live app. And I get it. But at the same time, when you have third-party systems like Be Live, and you're really having a hard time competing in that Facebook Live because Facebook isn't doing you no favors, you would think the Be Live community would step up a little bit.
yeah,
And try to help out and push this out a little bit. But, that's what they do. That we can't help that. That's not for us to decide.
that's right. But you know what? It won't let me share it to our page from your timeline.
Really? Well,
So let me see. No, is there some kind of limit? I'm trying to share it, say, to our page, and it says, sorry, the privacy setting means that you can't share it on Grit and Grace TV's timeline.
I forgot about that. Be Live does this to you. You have to.
Another reason to not like them even more.
Right. I have to go over and change it back to public. So now it's on public. Now you should be able to share this out. So, folks, if you tried to share it and you can't share, try again because you can share now. And
cool.
I got it fixed.
Okay. Yeah, super helpful.
Oh man, I tell you what. Anyways, fear.
Fear. Yes, fear. Like we said way at the beginning. I think that no, not I think. I know that all of the fears of the mind can be put into these 6 main fears that we're going to talk about. But let's get into it because we're already
We're going to be doing this all night, folks. We'll be here all night long. So don't worry. You'll catch something eventually.
Yeah, God. Jeez, eh?
But yeah, the first fear we were talking about was poverty. And, we discussed a little bit about 2008 and how the stock market kind of crashed. And a lot of us lost a lot of money at that time, to the point where some people attempted to commit suicide and all that kind of stupid stuff. But, here's the thing, folks. When we stress about money and money becomes such a huge issue, it's not necessarily just ourselves that we're hurting. We're also hurting the people around us. The fears that come from poverty isn't something that's necessarily like, I'm afraid I'm going to lose my house and I'm going to be out on the street. Now, that could definitely be a fear if you're struggling. Maybe you only have a job that pays you minimum wage, and you're living above your means. But at the same time, there's a lot of fears that kind of fit into that whole poverty role. So let's kind of cover some of that.
I think the fear of poverty, I think that's, fears can be irrational. So a fear of poverty, I would think it's beyond just a fear of poverty is just beyond stressing about money and, oh my God, how am I going to pay my rent or my mortgage or anything like that. A fear of poverty is, it really dictates your everyday behaviors. Every decision you make and you could become anxious every day and completely just over the top, and that it's a thought in the back of your mind all the time. Maybe some people will just stock up on things, or some people will like get 2-3 jobs because they're just so afraid of poverty and old age, that it's that thing that follows them around all the time. Like those commercials, those banking commercials where people are like stressed, their debt's following them around, the guy's hanging off his back and he's walking around. Yeah, I think it's an everyday thought. It's actually something that you get anxious about. You could almost hyperventilate over. These are the fears that we're talking about, but it's just dictates everything you do. This is not a fear for me, I can say.
Not necessarily a fear for myself either, but you see this a lot in young people, in a lot of young people in big cities. And where I'm going with that is you see this where young people will live with their parents for years after, they could be out doing their own thing. I know people personally who are 30 years old, still live at mom and dad's house. And a lot of that has to do with the fear of actually having to get out and provide for themselves and be able to support themselves and be able to budget the money that's coming in to be able to stretch that out to where they can afford to live on their own.
Yeah.
So that's another manifestation of this fear.
Did you just use the word manifestation?
Yeah, yes, I did. I used the word manifestation, but I used it in a correct context.
That's good.
So, anyways.
My ears almost bled.
I know.
Using that word.
As soon as I said it, I saw your face just light up. Oh, he's in manifestation.
You officially entered the woo-woo world. Oh my God, that's funny.
I guess maybe Harry Houdini will come and slap some common sense into me and make me realize there's no such thing as manifestation.
Oh
anyway.
God, that's funny.
So
yeah, I can say, there's times for sure in my life that I've been stressed over money and stuff, but a fear of poverty, worrying about the future, and when I get older, and oh my God, and what am I going to do? And I got to work my ass off, or yeah, that's not a fear. When we get through all of these, for those of you that are watching, when we get to the end of all of these, then we're going to talk about, just things, tips that we have for, because I think it's basically the same for every fear as how you tackle it so that it's not overtaking your life and it's not dominating every thought you have, because then it's really holding you back from your life. So we'll get through, because they're basically all the same to deal with it.
So number 2 is death. And that's not
a big one for people.
Yeah, and it's not just your own death, but and we're going to talk a little bit about that in a little bit. But for this one here, let's just focus on your own personal demise, because there's a lot of people who go through life and it comes to a certain point where they don't necessarily feel like they've contributed enough, or they haven't done enough yet to, whether it be for your children or for other people or whatever the case is. There comes a time where you're faced with that thought, what happens if I died today?
Yeah. Some people, it is the actual fear of death. Their life is going to be over and they're going to be gone. And like I said at the beginning, all fears of the mind can be, down into these 6. I'm not afraid to die. Like the actual dying. Well, I got to say, I do have a fear, like the way I would die. Do you have a way that that you would be afraid to die? Me, it's drowning.
Not really. Not anymore.
No.
If you would have asked me back, say 12, 13, 14 years ago, before I deployed to Afghanistan, then yes, I would have told you that, the thought of dying like by burning or something would have been absolutely horrific. And that thought would have just terrified me. But after going through the stuff that I went through, it's not necessarily how isn't important to me anymore. Where my fears kind of fell into place where I wasn't able to, give enough to the people around me to be able to live their own lives in a better way. Mm. That really to me is kind of where my fear falls. But that's not necessarily a full fear because of the way that I try to show up on a regular basis. So
it's not a fear that dominates your life. That's just a concern for you.
It's a concern, right? It's not fear anymore. It's more of just a concern.
I can't say, I think my sister has a fear. No, is it a fear of dying or a fear of getting old? My sister, it's one of those for my sister. Like, she's just like, I don't have a fear of death. I mean, sometimes you think about it and you think, one day I'm not going to be here. Like, this is really weird to think that one day I won't be here. What?
Blaine, he put sorcery.
Yeah, I saw that. My fear around death personally is that I will leave this earth not accomplishing what I want to accomplish.
Yeah,
So the thought of if I'm gone next week and this was it, the thought of that, like, you're going to be gone next week, that freaks the shit out of me because I'm not nowhere near what I want to. So it's not the actual dying, it's not accomplishing before dying.
I don't think, that's not necessarily anywhere close to where I'm at with that. Because if I died next week, I would at least die knowing that I did the best I could. Every day I wake up and I feel that it's another opportunity to do a little bit better than the day before. So if I died tomorrow, I knew I died doing the best I possibly could. So I don't really have a problem. Are there things that I want to accomplish? Absolutely. There's so many things that I haven't even scratched the surface on yet that I want to accomplish.
But that doesn't freak you out that if you were to die next week that you haven't done them? Like that this was your life. This is it. This is what CJ's done up until this point.
I've had a pretty epic life. I've done pretty much everything that I've ever set out to do. It's one of those things where, there's things that we're doing right now that are going to come out in the future that I want to be able to be around to see and to see the reactions of it. But at the same time, it's not something that if I don't see it, it doesn't bother me because the people that matter to me will be able to see it still. The people that matter.
Well, isn't that a nice answer?
I know. I
politically correct answer,
but it's the truth. It's the absolute truth.
Well, that's good though. That is good though, because personally for me, the thought of every once in a while, when I'm just sitting quiet and I think, "Okay, Lynn, you're gonna die next week," like instantly my stomach goes,
yeah,
and it freaks me out. It's not a thought that I have every day all the time, but I definitely every once in a while I have that thought and I'm like, freaks the shit out of me.
Yeah. And
that's what pushes me.
The next fear actually scares me more than death.
Yeah.
And that's sickness.
Yeah. Huh.
Sickness scares me more than death. I've lived with my wife who has been going through hell for the last, I would say 12 years, being sick constantly. She's got a rare disease. They don't know, there's no way to fix it. And because of this disease, it causes other things to happen to her. And everything that like a common cold is like 10 times worse for her than it is for the rest of us.
God.
The flu, the flu will put her into the hospital. I mean, there's certain things that happens to her. So I see that and I think, well, geez, I wonder if something were to happen to me where I became just ill, where I couldn't provide for my family anymore, how would we be able to hold this family together with her being sick and her being disabled and not able to work? I'm the only income in the house. So, and you would think, well, maybe that falls into poverty, but it really doesn't. It's
No.
the sickness aspect of it. It's knowing that if I became ill now, it doesn't scare me to die tomorrow because, well, I've got a hell of a good life insurance policy taken care of. But I don't have a sickness policy that's going to take care of them long term enough to be able to support a family.
Never mind being sick is shitty.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're not well, that's bad.
Biggest baby when it comes to being sick.
Oh God. Yeah, that would not be good.
I'm a horrible sick person.
You'd be better off dead then.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
women can take it so much better.
Yeah, that's no joke right there, guys. Every guy out there, if you took a little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? If you looked at yourself in the mirror when you were sick and you saw you really saw what other people see, you would be like, man, I'm a dick when I'm sick. I mean, we suck at being sick. All of us are, all guys are bad at it. But then you look at how things go. I mean, guys, we kind of got that thing, we got to be good. We got to be healthy because we go out and we got to show other men that we're healthy and we can work through anything. And
yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah. That's not what, it's funny. I've had a lot of odd little health things over the years, but I've basically been pretty healthy and I am always, keeping my immune system up and I'm always doing things that can keep me healthy. And I've recovered very well from things and use all kinds of alternative kinds of therapies and medicines and stuff. And I'm not really afraid. Even though, my dad got cancer, died of cancer 26 years ago. He had throat cancer, the healthiest guy you'll ever meet. The guy juiced like 30 years ago before juicing was even, he did all kinds of, he did alternative therapies. That's where I got it from. He used to, he'd go to the health food store when it was like, people were like, health food store? What the hell is that? My dad was the healthiest guy, rarely drank, never smoked a day in his life, exercised, hardworking logger, ate well, meditated. I mean, the guy was healthy as hell, got throat cancer and battled, it was brutal for 3 years. And then my mom got it a couple years ago. Well, she got it actually when I was a kid and had to have a hysterectomy. And then she got it like a couple years ago again. So, both my parents, before my mom died, she was like, I feel so bad for you. Like, your dad and I both have cancer. Like, it's basically telling me, like, you're doomed. Like, I'm sorry. Before I'm out, before I go, I feel so bad.
You have a black cloud. It's the cancer cloud. Yeah. Sorry about that, by the way.
Yeah. So, and that doesn't really freak me out. It's almost like I just have this confidence that I'm going to be okay. Like, I'm really, really pretty healthy and I've overcome things and I've dealt with things and I don't know. I just sort of have this, but every once in a while, if my throat feels a little funny, I'm sort of like, oh shit, or something, right? But I can't say I have a fear of sickness.
Like your dad, my grandfather, he was a railroader all his life. And I'm 42 years old right now. He had his first heart attack when he was 50. So I'm 8 years away from that area. And every now and then I'll feel like a twinge in my chest. Probably gas, but you don't know. I mean, but I remember this made such an impact on me when I was 8 years old that I stopped eating salt. To this day, I don't add salt to any of my food or anything, any extraneous salt or anything. Yeah. So I don't eat salt and I really watch, the saturated fats that I put into my body. I don't eat
Yeah.
any saturated fats. So it's one of those things where I think, this fear kind of started way, way long time ago. It's not when you see someone have a heart attack and then they live through it and then they have another heart attack 10 years later and they live through that. And then they finally pass away at 80, 89 years old. It's like, okay, I've got hope. But at the same time, that first heart attack, that was pretty much it. You knew that he wasn't going to be working very much longer.
Yeah.
You knew that his life was going to change from that point on, and it did drastically. To the point
it
where
would.
when they would come to visit us, he wouldn't get out of the car. He would sit in the car. We'd go sit in the car with him to visit with him because it had taken so much from him. So I seen that, and because of that, he had to take an early retirement from the railroad and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's like, man, I'm getting into that.
You're moving into that age space.
Right.
Where shit can happen. Yeah, because, my dad, he was 50 when he was diagnosed. He died at 53. And, so I was 21 and I thought, then I thought my dad was old. Because when you're 20, 21, I guess I was 19 when he was diagnosed, you just think your parents are old. And now that I'm almost 50, I think, holy shit, like my dad was really young, diagnosed at 50, died at 53. The guy was healthy as hell. And shit, he was young. And I'm not far off from that now. So yeah, those thoughts definitely cross your mind, but it does make an impact. But see, for me, I'm almost like, holy shit, he was healthy. He gets throat cancer. He never smoked. He was so healthy. So for me, it's almost like the reverse of you. I'm like, well, screw it. I'm going to do what I want because what the fuck is the point?
It's like Chris Johnson says right here, have some salt. You're going to die anyways. Enjoy what you have.
Enjoy it. Yeah. But then when you get sick, you're like, oh, fuck, no, I'm going to take care of myself.
I don't like the taste of salt. I mean, just the flavor of salt. Well,
you're not using the right salt. You need to use good, not that stripped away, crappy table salt.
I've tried sea salt, and I've tried other forms
pink
of
Himalayan salt, and that's good stuff.
I've tried these things, but I just don't like the flavor of salt so much. So I don't eat bacon because I feel that it's oversalted, and I can't stand the taste of bacon either. So
there is something wrong with you, boy. I don't like bacon.
But it is what it is. So
yeah,
the sickness is one of the things that I can honestly say that I probably fear the most out of this entire list that we have.
Yeah.
Even not a big, huge fear that's going to debilitate me and make me just go out and be a hypochondriac by any means. It's still there. It's in the back of my mind. And I do what I do to take care of myself a little better because I know that there's always that possibility.
Yeah, I get that totally. I get that. But so it would always be a little bit of a driving force for you. Like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this because.
Yeah. I don't go to the gym because I want to look good. I'm married. I don't have to anymore, but, I do want to live longer than the rest of my family does.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, where we at? Number 4 now? Yeah, number 4, loss of love.
That's a big one for a lot of people. And boy, am I seeing that a lot now. You know what I'm seeing? And I don't know if it's because the age I'm in or it's the times they are a-changing. I don't know what it is, but I'm seeing women happy as hell to be single and men crying in their cornflakes that they're single.
Yeah. It's funny you say it like that because that's exactly what's happening.
Are you seeing that?
And this trend has flipped for the last, I don't know how many years. And it's happened to people, that I don't know what it is, but guys are getting more and more dependent on women for comfort, for validity. I don't know what it is, but they're becoming more and more dependent on women, and women are becoming more and more independent, which I don't have a problem with that at all whatsoever. I do have a problem with men feeling that they can't validate their masculinity without a woman with them. It just, and that's what it feels like to me. And it's just nuts. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it's really odd. You watch it on social media. You get to know certain people will, share their thoughts and feelings on social media. And it's like, do you know how many guys I know that are single that like, they just want that significant other? Why can't I find the one? And you got women on the other side going, woohoo, yeah. Like, and I'm thinking, is it just because I've entered that age? I mean, I see the odd woman too that would like to find somebody, but yeah, I'm seeing this distinct women going, I'm finally fucking free, and guys going, when am I going to find the one? Like, I know so many. So ladies, if you're looking for somebody, I know so many single men that would like to have like, let me know. Like, I will hook you up because
that is so funny because when I started my coaching practice, I started off as a personal trainer. Yeah, we've told this story many, many times.
Yeah.
Part of being a personal trainer, I saw that I saw an opening for personal development. I could work with people, with mindset and things like that. So I kind of took that on. The women who I would train and who I'd work with were amazing clients. They just kicked ass. But the men, after working with them, usually it was like 4 or 5 sessions, not just personal training, but actual personal development coaching. It always seemed to boil down to how do I find a woman? How do I find a girlfriend? I don't have the confidence to be able to go up to a woman and say hello. And I'm like, it's just hello. I mean, how difficult is hello? I never understood that. So we started working together. We started actually going out I would take clients out to public places. They were usually community events. Like we have this thing in the summer where they've got a couple of bands playing at a couple of different stages. It's a community thing. And it's a very, it's not like a bar where you go to a bar and there's like certain expectations in a bar. This is very laid back, very easygoing atmosphere.
Yeah.
And I would see maybe a group of girls or something. I say, okay, there you go. Just go up and say hello, introduce yourself, and that's it. Don't worry about, starting conversation. Don't worry about, trying to, single one out, because that's what guys do at bars, is that they'll like key in on one girl and they'll like try to nudge their way in and like herd them into a corner like cattle type of thing. We're cutting them. We're cutting out the best one that we want, and type of thing. But I would get them to go over and just say, hello, my name is so-and-so. And they would start doing that. After about 3 or 4 times of doing that, they would get that confidence, but they were still having a hard time closing just a date.
Closing the deal.
and I think what happened is over the years, men got this idea that if you ask a girl out on a date, that means it's you and her. That's the way it's going to be. Just you and her dating. Whereas the whole concept of dating has been lost over years, where you don't just date the one person, you date several people, and you're kind of just finding which one you click with the best. You might go to dinner with one night. You might go to dinner or a movie or something with another one another night.
Yeah.
But there's so much pressure put on finding that perfect mate that women are like, screw this. If you guys are going to look at me like cutting cattle, fuck you guys. I'm out of this game. I'm going to stay single and we're going to just have fun.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, but that's not how I was told that it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
I think, and Blaine's right. There's been a lot of emasculation over the years. And I think a lot of that has to do with, if you look at the 80s, there was such a huge divorce rate where there was a lot of single mothers raising their children. And when you have an environment where the mother is the mother and the father in most cases, you do get a little bit of that. And it's not done on purpose. It's just the mother doesn't know how to raise a son as a father.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not the way it's supposed to be. And,
Yeah.
well, I say that it's not the way it's supposed to be. I don't want people to misunderstand what I just said. Because, women can raise men just fine. My mother raised me and she did a wonderful job. But at the same time, it's more difficult for a single mother to raise sons than it is for them to raise their daughters.
I think
That's
so.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think so for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I think this loss of love, I think definitely will keep people in a place that they shouldn't be. It'll have people just going from one relationship to another, people doing things that they know really goes against their values or their judgment or their gut feelings or anything that compromises themselves because they're so afraid to be alone. Not a fear of mine. I've never operated that way, and so that's. But I know some people who are like that, and I feel so bad because you really have to cultivate what's within you before I think you can have a good relationship. I mean, you have to be happy with who you are. You have to know who you are to know what you will and will not settle for, and what you want, because you're entitled to want to be treated a certain way. You're entitled to that. You're entitled. You want to be treated like a king or queen. You're entitled to that. I mean, there is someone out there who is perfectly happy to do that, that wants to do that, that wants you to be as happy as they want to be. So it's sad to see people compromise their best selves, and it really starts with within, because you're gonna drag that shit from relationship to relationship because you are the common denominator, and if you're going from one to the next to the other, you're just gonna drag that with you.
Pretty soon you're going to stop fearing loss of love and you're going to start fearing what's next, and that's old age. None of us want to be getting old. Personally, I can't wait to get to old age. I can't wait.
Well, you know what? I think it would be a hoot to friggin' live in a nursing home. You've got all your friends around. You could just leave outside your room. There's all kinds of freaking activities. Someone's cooking your food. Someone's doing your laundry. Hell, it sounds like a freaking ball. Like, I don't know why people fight going there.
And here's the thing. The thing that impresses me the most about old age is people can say whatever the hell they want, and it's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I go.
Well, sometimes it's not, but they just really don't give a shit.
They just don't care. I mean, it's not fine. It's absolutely obscene. But at the same time, I mean, think about this. You get a little old lady that's about 86 years old, and she flips you the bird or says, fuck you. That is the most hilarious thing you've ever heard in your entire life. But if I say it, it's just like, yeah, that's obscene. That's whatever. It's just CJ. But that
was my mom.
It's not a shock anymore. If I say it, it's not a shock. If they say it, it's like, oh my God. Anytime my grandpa says, yeah, the twins took a shit today, I bust up laughing, absolutely die laughing, because it's just funny hearing him say these things.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hit old age. I mean, when I hit old age, I'm going to be that guy. I mean,
how could you be any more you than you already are?
I don't know, but it's going to be.
I don't know. What are you holding back, CJ? I mean, really, what is it that you're dying to say that you have not?
I don't know, but I'm sure something will come out. Something will come out of me that I remember when I came home. My brother had just graduated from basic training, and I went down to watch the graduation ceremony with my wife and his wife, and I'm taking pictures of all the different military, because it had been a long time since I've been at Fort Benning. So I'm taking pictures of Bradley tanks and M1 Abrams and all these different military vehicles and stuff that they had on parade for this graduation ceremony. And we got home, and I'm showing my grandpa the pictures. And this is back before cell phones were the big thing. So I'm taking actual pictures, having them developed, And I'm showing my grandfather, and he's flipping through the pictures. He goes, "What tank is this?" And he shows me. I said, "Oh, that's a Bradley." He goes, "Okay, what tank is this?" I said, "That's an M1 Abrams." He flips another one. He goes, "Which tank is this?" And it was some lady with a big rump in front of me, and she stepped in. It was like total photobomb type of thing. And he's like, "Well, what tank is this?" Like, Grandpa, that's the kind of humor that comes out of old age, and I cannot wait to hit old age.
Oh my God, that's funny.
And now my grandpa's 93 years old, so it's even better. The stuff that he comes up with is, and quick. Oh my gosh, they're just that quick. It's when you got
wow, at 93, he's still like,
oh yeah, when you got 93 years of material.
oh my God, that's awesome. Oh, well, you got some longevity in your family.
Oh yeah. My grandmother was 98. My great grandmother was like 104. My great grandfather died in an accident, but he was still like 65 and still working hard every day on the farm. So
holy shit.
Yeah.
Well, you've got some longevity genes happening. Mine were pretty good too. My one of my grandfathers was I think he was like 96 or 98. He still had all his teeth, all his hair. He still had all his smarts. He could, walked with a cane, but he was still good, and he just died in his sleep one night. Like, what a freaking way to go.
And that's why I'm not afraid of death. And God forbid something tragic happens to me. But if I live to old age, I'll be ready.
I think you'll live long.
If I live into the 90s, like the rest of my grandparents, I'll be ready. It's not going to be a surprise. It's going to be like, well, sayonara, folks. I did all I could. Bye.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, mine lived pretty long too, actually. Yeah. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I don't have a fear of old age. Just again, going back to not accomplishing the things that I want to accomplish. So that one thing kind of fits into the, the fear of death, fear of old age, kind of the same thing. I feel like if I don't accomplish what I want to,
Now, this last one, and I'm sorry, I'm pushing us past this one because it's not really that big of a deal, I don't think. Well, it's a big deal for some people, but not.
The last one?
No, the last one is the biggest deal. This is the one with everybody in some way, shape, or form.
Oh, yeah.
And that's criticism.
Yeah.
For some reason, people are afraid of what other people think of them. And that terrifies people to the point where I see this on a daily basis where people are afraid to say something that they may be criticized for, so they just don't say it, even though it's something that probably should be said, but they'll still hold it back because they're afraid of the criticism that they're going to get for the unpopular thing. And you saw this a lot during the elections. This just happened recently with Trump and Hillary. A lot of people were afraid to say, yeah, I support Trump, or yeah, I support Hillary, because they were afraid of the criticism that they would receive for supporting one or the other.
Yeah.
That was kind of crazy.
People not speaking up when they feel compelled to, people not speaking up their opinions, people not speaking up when they think something's wrong, not speaking up to defend somebody, people holding back and doing what they want to do. We see it every day that people have to analyze things every which way. They're afraid to make a move because they're afraid that they're going to be, criticized and judged. But you know what? You can kind of understand it, because if you sit back and take a look at social media, it's a big rah-rah of be unique, be yourself. In a world full of Kardashians, be a whatever. And it's be yourself, be unique, stand out, speak your mind, find your voice, rah, rah, rah. And then it's like someone does, and then it's like, oh, no, that's wrong. Like, why are you saying that? Like, there's this constant do it, don't do it. Like, do it like that. No, not like that. Do your thing. No, not like that. Like,
Yes.
like this is what you see on social media all the time. So, people try and do that, but then they get criticized, they get judged, they get outed, they get blasted, and there's that whole stupid thing about haters. Oh, I got a hater. Or block the haters, or you don't need that in your life. Well, it just gets crazy watching social media. People afraid to start live streaming or podcasting or doing anything because their artwork isn't perfect, or I don't know, like they don't have the right haircut, or people are so afraid. But social media is really dictating, like what I just said, what it's like. It's no wonder people don't know which way to frickin' move.
Well, it's like these Facebook groups. You join these Facebook groups, and if you have an opinion that is different than the creator of the group, it seems like you get blasted.
Yeah.
Now, because of this show tonight, I decided to make a post in a group that I wouldn't call it necessarily inflammatory, but it was definitely designed to create an engagement of sorts. So I'm just real quick. I'm going to read through this real quick, and then I'm going to read a couple of the comments that I got that I thought were actually kind of funny. And so it says, "Who's getting value from this group? I'm having trouble distinguishing this group from an email list. Hey, smart move if it is. But other than the spammy dicks who promote their bullshit, regardless of how many times it is said not to, has anyone made a connection that has directly impacted their income?" So it was meant to kind of stir the pot, if you will.
Yeah.
The whole concept of this post was just meant to stir the pot. But and a lot of people, shouted out, and this got guys, it's like, I don't know, 40 some comments or some shit like that.
That was a post you made.
Yeah, it was a post I made in a private group.
Yeah.
Now, down here, this person writes, oh, let me find it. So he says, I got nudes from your mom, so that was cool. So I was like, okay.
He's my kind of people, yeah.
Right. Shots fired. I like it. I'm okay with it because, that's my personality. I love it.
Yeah.
And I get some people that said, not income. I've met a couple people who inspire me and who have actually helped me, which that's, part of what I was looking for.
Yeah. And
then I get another one that wrote, let me see. This one here says, so I just scrolled right past it. Damn it. Okay, it says, this group is putting me in the position to make money online, helping me find my niche and label it anyways. And once I do get my shit together, I have a great network, not only for advice, but that may want to take part in this website thing that I'm trying to create. Lots of benefits. None are given to you, though. So I was like, okay, cool. That's fine. And then it kind of goes on. And this person said, made me click and check out your profile. So you win comment of the day. LOL. It's so, but you kind of see
that's what you want. That's people not taking shit so personally and just engaging with it and not being so offended and taking it personally. But there's some people that just, they get triggered, right? And they can't control. But
and then I finally, to the very end of it, I came clean with it. I said, understand, my post is not knocking this group. I posted this to create engagement, to see where people stand, and to point out that everyone doesn't see things the same way.
Yeah.
Those said you get out of it what you put in are exactly right. Those of you who took this as an invitation to slam me and spread some shit, well, that's okay too. I'm not telling you how to engage. I'm just proving that any engagement, good or bad, helps the creator in the group in a couple of ways. It gives them feedback as to how the group is doing it. And it also looks good for Facebook because, well, we just rung Facebook's bell. Yeah. Thank you very much for playing along. See you next time. Yeah. So, it's kind of one of those things where I stirred the pot just to get a reaction, and the reaction just exploded. And, it's that criticism. Now, if I would have been afraid of criticism, if I would have been afraid to be judged by other people, the pictures of your mom thing, that could have been looked at as offensive.
Yeah.
Or
you wouldn't have posted it all if you were afraid, because there's a lot of people who don't even ask a question because they're so afraid. But I've heard so many stories too of people asking a question because I don't feel like I'm getting the answers I need here. And it's like, oh, hater. Oh, you're not our vibe. Ban, block. It's like, oh my God. It seems to be this vibe that's out there if you just can't accept. How are you growing without...
Exactly. You can't always be yes people. How many times, and this, I want to ask you, the people that are watching this right now, I want to ask you, and if you're watching the replay, play along with this as well. I want to ask you real quick, how many times have you typed something out and then deleted it? Then typed something else out and deleted it, and then typed and then finally sent it. And what you ended up sending is completely different. All the edge has been taken off. It's all well thought out, politically correct, and it rides the fence of not being committive. How many times have you guys done that? I really is exactly, Evelyn. Thank you very much. Blaine.
Well, because sometimes something thought out is better than fuck you, which is sometimes I've wanted that to be my response.
Well, I've got to
it's good to kind of, often in messages, in posts, in comments. Yeah, I have absolutely have done that a few times, but it's really more, sometimes it's because, whoa, that's reactive.
Write it, erase it, Evelyn. That's right.
Yeah. Sometimes it's reactive, and I don't want to be reactive because I have to be an example of what I work with clients on, right? With coaching. But I'm human, so sometimes my reaction is going to be like...
Well, people who know me know that I don't edit myself, and I don't like to write. So I won't go into typing a long diatribe and then push send. I'll actually just do a Facebook Live. That's usually how I get my point out.
But but I don't edit myself to the point where it's going to be vanilla. I'm still going to, but it's going to just come across a much more powerfully and leverage what it is that I'm looking for, rather than just being an off the cuff reactive.
I love Drew Carson's way of doing things myself. I mean, he's the guy that he'll write it, erase it, write it, erase it, and it'll still say fuck you at the end.
Yeah.
So, hey, Drew, when you watch this, thumbs up, buddy.
Yeah.
I love you. Don't change.
There's a way to say that without being, for sure. Yeah. Some people have the gift.
And hey, Blaine, I'm guilty of that myself. I am that guy. I will write something out and I'll push send before I even think about what it is that I wrote or the consequences of what I wrote. So, I think
we all do that.
I agree with you. Once I felt dumb afterwards, and there's been times where I felt dumb afterwards. In fact, I've gone out and done Facebook Lives and I felt really bad afterwards. And I've had to go back and do another Facebook Live to retract the things that I said and to apologize profusely for the things that I've said. So just because, we sometimes we get a little bit word vomity,
reactive,
it is what it is.
But we all do it. And that's the point. We're so afraid of criticism. But yet we all do something. We all say something that is sometimes offensive, or we say something, we react and we crap all over somebody. Or the thing is that everybody watching this can go, yep, did it, So there you go. We've all done it. And sometimes you're going to feel crappy. Sometimes you're going to step on somebody's toes. You're going to have that shitty feeling for a couple days. Everybody has experienced that.
I've done it in the group, in our own Facebook group, Grit and Grace. Actually, it was on our page. I said something that some people in our group took offensive. And it wasn't that I was trying to offend people. It was the fact that I was trying to put my perspective out there. At the same time, kind of, I guess I camouflage things with comedy sometimes. And, sometimes that comedy turns out to make it more offensive than it was meant to be.
Oh, I think I know what post you're talking about.
And I think
that was pretty jaw-dropping for me.
I think even Evelyn could remember that post because she was one of the people that commented on that. But, it is what it is. It's not they say that once you say something, you can't take it back. Well, that's not exactly true. You may not be able to take it back, but you can get to learn more about the person to understand where they're coming from and where they're at in their mindset to be able to say something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And criticism, it goes both ways, because a lot of people, they will criticize, but yet they don't like to be criticized.
Oh, big time. But also a lot of people will criticize for the things that they are hard on themselves for.
Exactly.
So that's that reflection. So they criticize themselves in their minds for it, but when and usually it's their partner, they'll criticize something because they criticize themselves for it. So the whole point of the thing that we're trying to make is don't let it stop you from doing something that you want to do. Sometimes you'll feel dumb. Sometimes you will feel bad. Sometimes, you'll fall on your face, but we all have, and don't let it stop you because you're just holding back on what it is you want to do.
I am the person that lives for the twist. I love the twist. Come on, baby, let's do the twist. Okay, I'll stop singing. But hey,
come on. CJ sings the penis song. Like, do you think this person is concerned about criticism?
Not at all. But hey, folks, let's shift gears now for a minute. We kind of went through this. So I'm going to just go through them real quick. So number 1 was poverty. Number 2 was death. Number 3 was sickness. Number 4, loss of love. Number 5 was old age, and number 6 was criticism. We kind of beat up criticism because that's the biggest one. But let's share with them some of the things that you and I do to kind of get us over these fears. So why don't you start us off a little bit?
Well, I think that you can't deal with or face or manage or overcome anything that you don't face. You can't deal with it unless you're willing to really look at it. So there's that one practice of, I think, Tame Your Gremlin, that book. I can't remember the author, really big book that was out for a while. It was Tame Your Gremlin Taming. It's to really, personify it, take it as something out of yourself. And, different things work for different people. So for some people, I will say, name it. Draw a picture of it. Who cares what it looks like? Draw what it feels like to you. Name it. Maybe it's Bernice. Maybe it's Helga. Maybe it's whatever it represents for you. Name it as a person. When you feel it coming up, you just give that bitch some grief and tell her to F off and that you're going to do this. Because sometimes it's so much easier if it's outside of yourself. That's one thing. The other thing is to really drill it down. Like if you have a fear about something, why are you afraid? Why am I afraid of whatever it is? Well, your mind automatically, because of the way your mind works, your mind's going to look for an answer. That's why it's so important to ask good questions, powerful questions that are going to give you good answers. So you want to ask, good questions. Why am I afraid of this? Well, because this might happen. Okay. And just keep drilling it down and keep asking why and drill it down and and look back in your life. What's the first time you heard about this? Now, for you, you can go back, say, about sickness. Your grandfather had a heart attack. That stuck with you. Bang. Now, you know, are you going to have a heart attack? Well, you don't know. So it's really drilling it down. A lot of times to just find out where it even comes from makes a big difference for people. Because sometimes it's like, well, I just have this fear and that's just what it is. I'm just afraid of that. And that's just the way I am. Well, come on. Like, put some effort into it. Why? Why are you afraid of that? Drill it down. Ask yourself questions. Find out where it came from. And sometimes that's just enough for people. And that's a good starting place.
I always found that for me, dealing with my fears, dealing with other people, helping people deal with their fears, it wasn't necessarily about naming it, but you're absolutely right. It's about finding out where it comes from, getting to the source of where the fear originated. And for example, for the longest time, I was so terrified of getting on stage. I was in drama, I was in choir, I was in band. I always did these kind of artsy fartsy things, but when it came time to do solos, I was absolutely terrified. In school, when I would do speeches, I would be my nerves would just be going. I was so tight. I would stumble through my speech and I would just get it out there as best as I can. And then the greatest thing happened to me. The best thing possible happened to me as I was performing on stage in front of my entire school for a high school production. And I forgot the entire verse to a song that I was supposed to be singing.
Oh, shit.
So as I'm standing up there, I found that I had this ability all of a sudden to just ad lib, no, I didn't lock up. I just started dancing around and just doing stupid, silly stuff. And people started laughing. And then when the chorus came up and everybody behind me started singing, I snapped right back into the part of the song where we're supposed to be. And it was, there's no business like show business like no business I know. And that's a song. That was the song that I froze on my part. And because that happened, and after the show was over, people were coming up and said, man, the best part of the entire show is when forgot your lines or forgot your verse and you just started dancing around. That was so funny. That was great.
Yeah.
And it made me realize no matter how bad things seem to you in the moment, the perception of the people around you, they don't know. They know. And you just go do whatever it is that you're doing and they will follow right along. They will just lockstep it right in with you and they'll just enjoy whatever comes out.
Yeah.
So working with other people, I use that all the time because it was the most terrifying thing that could possibly happen to a stage. And after they hear the story, they're like, well, okay, well, there was this one time when I was up on a ladder and I fell off a ladder and I broke my ankle and now I'm afraid of going up on ladders. Okay, perfect. Well, let's, now that we know why, let's just get up here and let's jump off this little stool.
Yeah.
And, oh, hey, did you break your ankle? No, you didn't break your ankle. Okay, great. No. It's just like you just start going through the motions.
Yeah, you have to break that cycle because we get into the cycle, right? You get something happens, then you get a result, and then you get a thought about it. Locked in that result, so that, it's just going to go around. So doing that, yeah, you're breaking that pattern, that cycle of that's going to happen because this happened. So that's.
I'm still going to be afraid of spiders. There's nothing that's going to cure me of the fear of spiders. However, I do know that I will work through my fear because we all have that fight or flight response type of thing. Yeah. I can't work through my fear as long as the motivation is good enough. And I found that I like making money more than I'm afraid of spiders. So I will keep working my job, playing with the spiders. And as long as they don't bite me, I won't smush them.
Yeah. There you go. You find a more empowering thought. You're right, Evelyn. The audience doesn't know. And that's something that helped me with public speaking, was so worried about forgetting an important line I wanted to share or a thought that I wanted to share. And one time I spoke and I did forget a little section, and I sat back down at the table and there was a couple people and they're like, that was fantastic. And I was like, yeah, I forgot a little section. And they went, oh, well, we didn't know. And that's when it locked it in that, yeah, that's right. You didn't know. I knew. So don't stress anymore because people have no clue. As long as they feel that you're there and you're engaged with them and you're entertaining and they're getting something from you, they have no freaking clue at all. So that really helped for me as far as, standing up and speaking if I have to speak on a certain topic that maybe makes me nervous.
Now
I can stand up and talk about podcasting all freaking day long, but
now when I go and do public speaking, I have a hard time sticking within their time requirements. Like, I will say, dude, you've only got 8 minutes.
Yeah.
I can't even.
It's like, shit, I can't say hello in 8 minutes. Like, what the hell?
Man, you totally took away my entire intro.
Yeah, exactly.
But, we all have little things that pop up from time to time, but
that will never go away.
Never go away.
I mean, there'll always be fears. I think that's what a lot of people live for, right? Is if I could just get over this fear. Well, it'll always somewhat be there. Exactly. Grow with the flow. I mean, you have to just find the way that works for you to help you, and it can become easier. There's an area for sure that you can master. Maybe if you public speaking, you would be terrified and you would hyperventilate and you need the brown paper bag to breathe into, to the point where maybe you can get on stage and talk and maybe, one hand just shakes a little bit. I mean, you can definitely get better, but anytime it's holding you back is a hint that you need to find a way to get beyond it.
There's another technique. This is an actual physical technique that I learned you can actually use not just for speaking, because this is how I learned it, is through public speaking, but it's that progressive tension technique where you just, you tighten up all the muscles in your body, but you do it in a progressive way. You start at your feet and you move up through your body to the point where you get everything right. Then you hold it as long as you possibly can. You just let it go. And then that relaxation that you feel after you let that tension go will allow you to go out and do what you do. Yeah. Now, I found that actually works for a lot of things, not just that, but I can see that. I was afraid of climbing ladders. I had fallen off a ladder at 100 feet where I was dangling, and I had to have the fire department come and get me down and all that kind of good stuff. Well, when I started working at this current job, we have to go up on roofs quite often, and I had a hard time climbing up those ladders, especially since the ladders that we had were only rated at 225 pounds, and I weigh somewhere close to 225 pounds. So it kind of made me feel a little bit shaky. Well, I found that when I did that technique, I would just tighten everything up, and then I would just let it go. As soon as I let it go, felt that relaxation, I was up that ladder, not a problem. And now I don't have to use the technique to go up and down ladders. I'm doing ladders on the side of a building all day long, and they don't bother me anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's an energy, right?
It's an energy. And
so it's shaking up that energy, and yeah.
Do it enough times and you don't need it anymore. It's not part of the ritual, I guess you could say.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
So then you just get to a point where it's like, I'm up the ladder, I'm down the ladder, I'm good.
Yeah.
So that's a physical thing that people can do, and it works. It works for pretty much anything. Even getting on an airplane if you're afraid of flying, tighten that up, and then just relax. Let that feel go, and just bam, you're good to go.
Yeah. Not just your butt. Tighten it all up.
Yeah, you got to tighten it all up. You got to get it. Look like I'm dumping a grumpy. But anyways, folks, thank you very much for hanging out with us for the better part of this hour. And if you want to find out more about where you can find Grit and Grace, Lynn.
You can go to gritandgracetv.com. You can get us every which way you'd like on our website, video, all the ways that we're available on audio, because you can get us through iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, and we are played every Monday night on milehighradio.com.
In fact, we're probably playing right now. Actually, we
are playing right now, actually, because
So,
we've run over. So we are so amazingly talented. We're like on the station right now, and we're here with you because this is how much we love doing what we do.
So if you did not get enough of Grit and Grace, if you did not get enough of Lynn and CJ tonight, go on over to Mile High. Download the Mile High app. Although there has been some quirks, maybe you need to update it, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Download the Mile High app. I'm sure that'll be fixed soon. And just catch us on your computer or your phone. I listen to it. I love it.
Your iPad,
there's so many great shows. I mean, it's amazing what you can find over there. It is definitely one of the most well thought out, most diverse stations on the internet right now. So check it out.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Do it. Do it.
I would really hate to get out of here without mentioning our friends over at Hollow 9 Network and this Sunday only at Mile High.
You just have a hard on for freaking Tangent City, don't you?
I want to know who Gloria is because she sounds pretty hot. Anyway.
Well, there will be quite a scene.
I guess.
Gloria. But, go ahead. Tell them quickly.
So yes, Sunday night, Tangent City, we will be hosting a launch party courtesy of Mile High Radio and Ripka Media. And I guarantee you one thing, we are going to have so much fun because before the show, you're going to want to come in early. You're going to want to get there early, and you will see that invite come out probably tomorrow. But you're going to want to get there early because we have words from the creator himself. He is going to introduce the show. He's going to tell us about everything that's going on. And not only that, get this. Have you ever watched The Walking Dead?
No, not regularly.
Oh, it's kind of a big thing. And a lot of people watch that show.
Yeah.
But more people watch the after show. And that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
We're going to get all the voice characters in a seat, and we are going to just do basically a Comic-Con version of After Tangent City. It's great. So
so if you're, around 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, milehighradio.com, the premiere episode of an amazing audio drama. So it's just the first episode. It's going to continue. So you're going to want to turn off your Netflix and you're going to want to tune into the premiere of Tangent City.
Yeah.
And it's going to be awesome.
There's no better place to join and listen than in a room full of avid fans watching the premiere episode. So watch out for that coming up probably tomorrow. It is going to be epic. I guarantee you we're going to have a lot of fun. This is a virtual red carpet event. You're going to want to be there at that red carpet listening
party.
Oh, it's going to be great. So bring your own though. You got a BYOB.
Yeah.
Definitely a BYOB or D. Bring your own. Not bring your own.
Or BYOS or
whatever it is that you're drinking. Just bring it.
Just bring it. Come to the listening party and hang out with some cast and the creator. And it's going to be awesome.
A bunch of avid fans that just want to hear something different than podcasts about podcasts and podcasts about business and podcasts about crocheting. That might be interesting. Anyways, thank you very much, folks, for checking this out. We appreciate each and every one of you. Each week we come to you at 11 Eastern, 9 Pacific, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday night. Coming up Wednesday, we've got a great show planned for you. So please join us again. We love to see you. Till next time,
guys.
See y'all later. Bye.
Bye now.